let's talk about the power of the word. If your words uplift someone, it's because you're speaking the truth. Because truth is reality, and reality has energy. Non-reality has no energy. So you always want to move closer towards reality and to speaking the truth. Speaking the truth has a constructive effect, a positive effect, a creative effect. People are better off after they spoke with you than beforehand. And so the goal of all communication should be to uplift the other person. The yogic teaching around that is that you should talk like a sage and walk like a king or queen. So if you're having a conversation or a debate or a discussion with someone, naturally the best idea should win, because the best idea is that which holds the highest degree of reality, which has the most energy. I'll say that again, the best idea is the closest to reality, which holds the most energy. And so why would you only want to speak the truth? Well, because if you're being deceitful or you're presenting a negative thought and a non-reality, you're doing a disservice to the other person and to yourself by not speaking the truth or by presenting the non-reality as a truth. Even if someone is unaware that their idea is not grounded in reality, they're doing a disservice to the other person by planting that thought in their head. Because what happens then is the other person adopts a non-reality, a watered down version of reality. And so that's the importance of debate. Question everything. And if someone speaks untruthful words, we must have the courage to fight for the idea which is right, which is closest to reality, which has the most energy, because nothing takes away more energy than knowing you should have stood up for the truth and you back down because of fear. And equally as destructive as that is speaking untruthful words and knowingly deceiving someone else because of the fear of appearing weaker when your mind is changed by being presented with a better idea. Nothing could be further from the truth, by the way. Flexibility is a strength. When presented with a better idea, the fact that you are able to switch gears and change your mind should be perceived as a strength. And you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to gain energy by holding a perspective which is closer to reality. And so we can think of the word as this beautiful alchemical process by which you can uplift someone or you can totally destroy them. We carry the weight of our words with us our entire lives. It's a soul, and not just our words, but our actions as well. But it's a soul contract. Upon saying something, upon doing something, you agree to deal with the repercussions of the words or of the action. So if you don't want the effect, then don't start the cause. That's the law of cause and effect. However, you could say it's a perfectly balanced system, perfectly designed, equal system. Every cause has an effect, and every word has a repercussion, and this is the key: nothing is free. No one really gets away with anything ever, because the soul carries the weight of the words and of the actions. And we have free will, so we can load up all we want in this life. In the end, all dues must be paid. You can't take any of that heaviness with you. It'll just weigh your soul down. There's this quote from Dave Chappelle, my favorite comedian of all time. And he's talking about comedy, but this applies to the way we use words to transform other people or to transform yourself. Here it is. The bottom line is, no matter what happens to you, you have to keep going. And bitterness is quite cumbersome. Jokes is a way of shaking that off, processing something with the alchemy of levity. Use the power of the word to uplift others. Move heaviness out of your heart, out of others' hearts. To live that way takes a lot of energy, but the result is lightness of being. You become light, you become free of the burden of the weight of knowing you said something, knowing you acted in a way which wasn't in accordance with truth. And when one uplifts others, it's a net gain for everyone. You gain energy, the other person gains energy. It's a win-win situation. And so today I noticed that there's a pattern of people saying things online that they wouldn't say in person because they think that their digital avatar is somewhat not connected to their, physical avatar, when it couldn't be further from the truth. It's your soul that has to live with the weight of the things you say and the things you do. So it really doesn't matter. It's you taking the action at the end of the day. Your online avatar is an extension of your physical avatar, of your consciousness, really. So anything you say or do carries the same weight as your physical avatar because it all resides in the soul. In fact, you could say the stakes are even higher because when you're talking to someone one-on-one, you're just talking to one person. When you're online, something you say or do could have millions upon millions of repercussions. You could reach thousands and thousands of souls. And so it couldn't be any further from the truth. And so the way we should approach communication, whether it's in person or online, is act as if everyone is watching. My spiritual teacher used to say, I treat every person as if it's the first and last time I'm ever going to see them. And that got me thinking about what if you live that way, where the stakes are higher all the time? How does that change the way you behave? What is the first impression you want someone to have of you? And what is the last impression you want them to take with them of you in this life? It very much could be the first and last impression they have of you. You never know. And so I like that way of thinking about things, especially communication, because it raises the stakes. And when you raise the stakes, you act and you perform at your best. And when you perform at your best, you have nothing to worry about.